with Drive Time.
BBC Radio Kent.
The Transport Minister was in Thanet today to announce that the government will appoint a consultant to look at decisions made about the future of Manston Airport. The airport closed last year and the site sold to developers. Thanet District Council dropped its plans to buy it by compulsory purchase order, saying it did not have the money to cover the costs, even though a US firm, River Oaks, says it could cover the costs of the purchase. So has the campaign to reopen Manston as an airport been given a boost today? I asked Transport Minister John Hayes what today's announcement actually means.
What it means is the government is committed to doing its best by the people of Thanet. So we're going to appoint experts to work for the government, looking at the future of Manston Airport in terms of the process that has gone on so far, the papers we received from the council and from River Oak. And, government wants to do all it can. We said we'll leave no stone unturned. The Prime Minister indeed understands this is about jobs and security and the future of Kent. So we are going to put our resources behind working with the council to do that analysis on the viability of the offer that's been put up.
Now, no stone unturned in a battle to secure the future. Some listening will think, well, how does appointing a consultant do that?
I want the very best experts, world-beating experts, to come to a conclusion about the viability, the commercial viability of the future of the airport around this bid, so the council can then take the right decision. Because it's quite difficult for a small district council to have the resource necessary to look at something which is a regional importance.
Transport Minister, you're going the extra mile, you say, but the reality is they looked at the papers, they said it wasn't viable, they decided on a local level. You're asking them that they need to make the decision anyway, so I'm not sure how you come into it.
Well, we come into it because we're putting government resource behind it. There is a difference between putting the resource that government can bring to support a local council and leaving a local council alone to do that. And I think it's really important that central and local government work together for the best interest of the people of Thanet.
Yeah, that sounds like a lovely pre-election campaign, but I'm just wondering, in terms of the physicality of what you're going to do, these things take a long time. What are you physically going to be able to do, and what is the timeline for it being done?
Timeline is that we will begin work on the procurement of these people tomorrow. I don't think this should take months and months. I know people want an urgent answer. I think it needs to be done as soon as is practical, and that doesn't mean driving this thing into late this year and then continuing in some way that delays still further. No, we want a speedy but thorough piece of work done that produces a definitive outcome.
Can I just ask, if it's so important to the local economy and it's so important to the Prime Minister and it's so important to you, John Hayes, as Transport Minister, why don't you just step in? You're basically saying the local council can't deal with it. Why don't you step in, purchase it and deal with it?
Because the local council are sovereign in this respect, and so they should be. They have to take those local planning decisions. And the council said, look, we've taken a look at this, but if you're happy to go further, put the resource into looking at this again, considering it in a way that the resource the government can bring is bound to be more thorough, then we will work with you. We're working with the council on this. There's not a cigarette paper between us.
All right, well, okay, well, I'm sure there'll be lots of people who may think differently. Just out of interest, yesterday you made quite a few bob out of Eurostar. You got some money back. Could that not be used to look at another transport issue in the county?
Well, with the economy in the state it is, it's absolutely right that we use the necessary resource. We've already said that we're going to spend resource on a serious expert to support the people of Thanet.
Yeah, that's not a lot of money, though, is it? A consultant's not gonna...
Well, we'll see how much money it is when we've gone through the proper tender process. But it's going to be a substantial piece of work.
Okay.
And I wouldn't expect that to be done on the cheap. So absolutely right. We put proper resource in because this is about jobs. This is about people's future. This is about Thanet.
John Hayes, thank you for being with us. I believe this afternoon you're at Turner Contemporary in Margate. Are you having a nice look around the gallery?
When I came down here last time, I didn't get a chance to come here. There's a Van Dyke, as you know, on display at this gallery, and that's all about, isn't it, the success of this area? Isn't it wonderful?
So not a jolly boys outing to Margate?
Oh, no. But it would be remiss of me, wouldn't it, not to support the local economy.
Transport Minister John Hayes speaking to me earlier from Turner Contemporary. Iris Johnston is the leader of Thanet District Council and is on the line tonight. Thanks for being here. Your council at the time, I know, said you could not cover the costs of buying the compulsory purchase order of the airport. Doesn't the decision by ministers to get a consultant look at it suggest otherwise tonight?
Thank you very much, Dominic. Obviously, we met with Mr. Hayes again today. I'm not sure what will come out of using more expensive consultants to look at this, but if they're willing to spend the money, that's fine. There has been a bit of a 2-month delay since we sent the papers to them. We accept that was a difficulty.
Do you think this is a waste of time then? Do you think it's a waste of time?
No, I don't think anything is ever a waste of time. The airport has always been very important to me personally, and also important, I think, to the local economy. However, we also have to remember there are owners of this site. And today, when the Minister came, I made sure that the chairman of our Invest Planet was in the room, but he also, of course, has a connection with Discovery Park and is overseeing, on behalf of Mr. Carter and Mr. Musgrave, I made sure he was in the room too.
So if the consultant came back and said, yes, the council should go ahead and buy the Manston site, will you do it?
We haven't got the funding to do that sort of thing.
So they need to give the money anyway?
Well, the whole point of this at the very beginning was we said we could never afford to do this as a district council, but if we could get a back-to-back investor that met all our criteria, we would consider it. So we, know the story.
Just to be clear, it won't be you. It won't be you paying for it, whatever way they come back.
Well, we just don't have that kind of money.
OK. The owners of the airport have said in a statement there is no viable business case to reopen the site as an airport. The decision simply delays the delivery of the £1 billion redevelopment of the site and the jobs and wider economic benefit that will bring to Thanet. And on the point that the Transport Minister, John Hayes, said there was not a cigarette paper between you both there at Thanet Council, was he right on that?
I think I have a good rapport with the Minister. Cross-party, we do work well together. I've tried very hard to be open-minded with everybody that I meet, and I know that Sir Roger Gale is committed to...
Sure, is that yes or no?
Well, it's a yes that we want to work together, but of course the people own the airport and we have to listen to them. We can't go on forever waiting for somebody to help us here.
Appreciate your time. Thank you, Iris.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Councillor Iris Johnston, leader of Thanet District Council, coming up.